Welcome to Cookies Enabled. I am Will, your host, and next to me here is Andrew, my editor. Pardon us for our massive delay. I am blaming kind of myself and Microsoft for a massive, critical system update to my 64-bit Windows 10 operating system. And now that is complete, we are on the air finally, and I am really sorry for the delay. I also had to do a Firefox update in the process as well. I'm surprised OBS did not have any updates as well. It's been a rough week for me. I hadn't had time to catch up on my updates, so I was kind of forced into them as usual. So, you're shaking your head, Andrew. What's up?
And once again, your Skype audio keeps going in and out.
It's just in and out,
I don't know why it's doing that.
Nobody can hear me. Possibly hear me? Hopefully? I don't know. I guess we're having audio issues as well. I am so sorry, everyone. I am at 60% CPU usage randomly.
Yeah, I still can't hear you.
Huh. Okay. I don't know what to do.
Nothing yet.
Nothing?
Sorry, guys. It'll be a moment.
Yeah, bear with my PC. Apparently.
Now I hear you again.
Yeah, I was at 50% usage for some reason, so it just was really focusing hard on nothing.
Out again. I don't know why. Skype is not being good for us.
Something's not playing nicely. I bet it's got to be Skype. It's got to be trying to do something in the background, I bet you. So,
well, maybe
anyway.
Next week, guys, we'll see if we have another streaming system.
Maybe I'll try Zoom next week.
Skype, for some reason, the audio.
We'll see if that's any
better. So
better.
We'll try to make this work for you.
Right. So, first and foremost, we got Starlink, space news, NASA news, all kinds of space news, lots of space news today. We also have a live studio audience, technically speaking, not on my side, but on Andrew's side. He has one of our followers sitting with him, part of our live stream today. So you might get a glimpse, possibly, maybe. So, anyway, on top of that, so Starlink news, you want me to play that video here? I have that Starlink video. And this is pretty cool stuff. You can't hear me at all, can you?
I'm not hearing you still.
Huh. What is going on with my audio? See, I would turn on my mic, my other one. Can you hear me now?
Nope,
No,
nothing still.
See, yeah, that's...
I see you talking, but I have no audio.
But you have no audio from me?
Now you're back.
See, that makes no sense. My CPU keeps jumping up. I don't know why. It says my stream is experiencing issues today.
It's going through. I can hear it on the actual YouTube stream, but not through the computer for me, which makes no sense.
That is very weird. So, well, at least YouTube is getting it, which is odd. I can't. Anyway, I can't explain that. Starlink, let's talk about that. Huge launch. They had lots of really cool stuff going on. This was a pretty big deal, I think.
This was the ninth landing of this actual booster. So it's flown and landed 9 times, which I think is a record for them so far.
I wouldn't think so.
It's either 7 or 8 before that, but they did. Biggest thing was, and you guys can see it on the video that we're sharing with it. Perfect landing, right in center, which is definitely something that they're going to need to perfect, especially when they get Starship going. In order to land without landing legs or even some of the some of the fins that they use, they need to be able to land right back on a launch pad so they can fuel up and launch again within a few hours. That's eventually what they want to do. Right now, all of these boosters, they take at least several weeks to be refurbished, to be reprocessed, to make sure they're ready to fly again. But they eventually want to, land, refuel in 20 minutes, put a new payload on or more passenger, and launch right again. The only way to do that is to be able to land right back on the launch pad. They don't do that at the moment.
Nope. For a lot of reasons.
Starship eventually will, once they have those old oil drilling barges out in the ocean. Everything's going to be there, so they can go up and down multiple times a day. That will greatly reduce costs. They just have to prove that it's safe enough, which I think they're starting to do, because 9 successful landings of a single booster is pretty impressive.
That's huge.
I think
huge deal
10 is what they want to go for. They're probably going to try to do more, or they might retire it. I'm not sure. We'll find out.
Yeah.
So That's Starlink. That was the big launch out of this past week. They are doing some more things. Possibly this afternoon, we'll see SN15 fly. Finally,
Hopefully,
they've been
fingers crossed
scrubbing it for
there.
a few days,
Yep.
and I'm really hoping this is the one that actually does it without going boom.
Right. Really, we gotta hope so. And I think it will. I
It
think
is a
they've.
much more advanced booster, though. They've made a lot of
That's
changes.
exactly it.
So
Yeah.
SpaceX has been going crazy. They did another Starlink launch just a week ago, so they're really ramping up their launch schedule. And the other big thing was the Crew 1 mission that launched to the space station aboard one of the Falcon 9 in November. They, now that Crew 2 is up there in the space station, the first crew returned back to Earth. Perfectly successful mission that technically ends the first crewed mission from American soil.
Right.
And everybody was pretty pleased with how that went. One of the astronauts, his wife, was on Crew 2. So he got to see his wife on the space station for a few days
Wow.
before they went back. That had to have been...
That's pretty cool.
That's got to be some crazy conversations around the dinner table asking,
What did you
what
do
did you
today?
do today at work? Well, I went to the space station.
Just ran off to the space station, just said hi to our friendly space neighbors.
But Crew's up there. They'll be there, I think, till October, and then they'll return. And then by then we'll have another crew going.
Very
on.
cool.
So
Very cool.
yeah, SpaceX has been really, really busy.
Yeah, it definitely
And
it sounds very much like it.
If SN15,
Yeah. Is
if it launches
successful 100%.
today, that's going to be a huge boost for them, and probably within a few weeks after that, we'll see 16. Go.
Exactly. Yep.
But they're getting their patterns down. They're really starting to understand how to make this work. So we're just going to have to wait and find out.
Fingers crossed again. And
a notification set, so the moment that I see if it's going, we're definitely going to share to our page. If it does launch while we're on air, we will cut right to that.
right. So
Just to show you guys. It's
hopefully.
always fun to watch live.
We'll see, though. I don't know. I'm hoping for the best with the launch for today, anyway. But yes, we have. Really, this launch is going great. It looks like it's starting to come back down in the descent. If you guys are watching the little video of the Starlink stuff, but this is really awesome. And I think they've had so many successes and learning experiences from like the S9, S10 launches and whatnot, that I think S15 is going to be huge. Leaps and bounds better than what they've had before. I don't think it's going to be 100% successful, but I think it'll probably be at least 90 to some odd range there, probably error of 10%. But they have a really good success rate.
Elon is giving the better chance of success,
and they're doing way more launches than we've ever tried. And as far as I'm ever concerned, at maybe NASA, but maybe I could be very much wrong about that. I don't know.
They never launched nearly this many. SpaceX has far outpaced any other, either European Space Agency, any of them.
And that's why I'm like, we've got to be learning mountains
SpaceX
of data.
They're averaging more than one per 2 weeks now, which
huge. Love it.
10 years ago was unfathomable. And now they're making these Starlink, the Falcon 9 launches and landings, they're every day. Where it's
huge.
It is still somewhat exciting, but it's routine, which is what you really want, though. I mean, the first flights of airplanes, especially passenger planes, was terrifying. But now you don't think twice about it.
Exactly. So here it is. It's almost back down to the landing pad. That one camera keeps going out on it, probably because of the vibrations and there's a lot going on. So
well, they have to have a very directional signal to a satellite to bounce off, especially from the drone barge. So vibrations from this rocket landing tend to knock that out. Usually later they'll have better video from what's actually on the barge recording to the hard drive instead of beaming. But we don't get that until the barge gets back into port.
Exactly. But so cool. Very well done. The video just restarted.
That landing, and it was spot on.
Yeah, that was a spot on landing. Well done. And again, this is huge because this is allowing us to recycle, refuel, and just shoot it right back up, do it again. So this is really ramping up lot of space searching, mining, space trash. There's a lot of that floating around up there. And even just there's word that like Russia might be building their own space station. India, I think, Japan. There's a bunch of them that are even like talking about it. So it sounds like this could become a huge deal. And they might use SpaceX to do that. So who knows? So this is all the future. I'm really excited about it. I think it's pretty awesome. And hopefully we get to see a launch later today. So we'll see. Anyway, jumping forward.
I'm excited if we do.
What?
I'm excited if we do.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Okay.
So you had a few interesting topics to cover too.
Yes.
Also, everybody, this will be a bit of a shorter.
Yeah, we're kind of rushing here.
So today, we'll probably run for another 20, 25 minutes just because of all the issues.
Well, we'll stick with some space topics here. Now, you had two other NASA news articles we can fly through real quick. I'm going to pull up the Alan Shepard article because this poor guy. Let me get this news article up here.
I wouldn't say poor guy. This was the Alan Shepard one was cool.
Cool.
This is actually the 60th anniversary of his first flight.
Right on the NASA website. That's what that source is.
He was the first American ever to make it to space. I believe it was aboard one of the Mercury capsules.
It had to have been. Yeah.
60 years ago. It's fun. 60 years ago, the first American ever flew into space.
Only 60.
And now
not even 100
we're
years.
watching 4 travel aboard brand new spaceships to a space station the size of a football field. A lot has happened in 60 years.
So much has happened.
So, happy anniversary to America's space program, basically,
Yay.
to our presence off of the planet.
I don't know.
The sad one after that, unfortunately, was the passing of astronaut Michael Collins.
Yes.
He's sometimes called the loneliest man in history.
There he is. There's a nice picture of Mr. Collins.
He was the commander of the Apollo 11 mission. Unfortunately, had to stay in the command module and did not manage to actually walk on the moon. You can imagine.
You're there.
Yeah,
but you can't.
There's a photo that he took that has the Earth and the moon in it, and at that point, he was the only person ever, living or dead, that was not contained within that photo, which is kind of an interesting concept to think about.
That's very
cool. He
cool.
just passed away. How old
this is
was
also
he?
on the NASA website, by the way.
Mm-hmm. They put out a bunch of statements on that all the time, so I don't know. It doesn't say how old he was. I can't find that, but
that is true.
I can look it up.
Surprisingly.
Well, this was just their statement on his passing, so it's not really like an obituary,
that's true. That is very true. Okay, but very cool. Again, NASA always has usually some really interesting information on their website, but this was stuff I didn't even know was on there. So thank you for pointing these two articles out. I'll post these links in our description so you guys can check these out later if you want to read the articles behind them.
He was 90.
Oh, 90. Wow. So he made it. That was a good
April
run,
28th,
especially for leaving the planet. Yeah, that's pretty awesome. That's good news.
Even without him, without his expertise, the Apollo mission never would have become what it was.
Exactly.
So, I mean, these explorers really paved the way for what we're capable of these days. So we really do owe it all to them.
Yep.
And
yeah, it was a huge step then, and it's still a really big deal now. I was just watching a spacewalk the other night. I couldn't find anything on TV, so I just switched on to YouTube's live stream, and they were just moving some luggage around the space station and whatnot. But it's just huge leaps and bounds compared to where we were. Like you said, even just 30 years ago, 40 years ago, we were nothing. People would laugh at you for saying that we were going to have a space station floating around up there and they'd be doing spacewalks every other day to fix and repair things. So here we are. Happens all the time. So, don't let people tell you that it's going to be impossible because, we do the impossible every day. So there you go. How about that? And also talking about impossible, how about somebody moving a border? Didn't think that was possible, right? Had a way to work that one.
Bigger.
Here we go. BBC News, and Andrew has brought this to our attention. That this guy moves a French border by accidentally moving one of these ancient landmark stones. So they used to use these stones. They used to use kind of a stone and fence lines up here in the Michigan area to also mark territory lines. And there was a whole dispute between Michigan and surrounding states and Canada and whatnot as well. And Wisconsin. And so this is very similar because these stupid little stones, I hate to say it, but they get bumped around all the time. And for someone to even notice, I think it's hilarious. So, like, I don't know how far the guy moved it, though. Was it, like, not even anywhere?
I can't hear you again, but I'm just going with
Sorry.
it. Just because we're reading the same article. But yeah, apparently...
I don't know how far he moved it.
There you go, you're back. The border was established, it says, in 1820.
Okay.
After Napoleon's defeat at Waterloo. So this thing's been there for... It's just a big stone. It looks like a headstone almost. But a farmer got upset because it was in the way of his tractor, so he moved it 7.5 feet. So now technically, France is smaller and Belgium is bigger, but...
By 7.5 feet. Everybody get your atlas out.
It's something quirky, and apparently both countries aren't really upset by this. They don't care. They think it's kind of funny, and they're kind of playing on that on Twitter.
It's gotta be.
So it's good to have, a good attitude about it. I just think it's really funny that that's all it takes to make a change. Yep.
I mean, how do you not know? It's got inscriptions and everything. It tells you this is the northern latitude. How are you screwing this up? How do you not notice this? Was the guy blind or something? Or was it covered in shrubbery and he just didn't know? Or I don't know. Anyway, I just think it's funny. I'm pretty sure that doesn't look anything like a normal brick cylinder from our century. So I'm kind of surprised the guy's like, I didn't notice.
1819 is the date inscribed on it. So I mean, it's been there for quite a while.
Wow.
But again, it's nice that the authorities are having some fun with this. Joking that they should be able to avoid a border war.
New war between France and Belgium.
Going to make him move it back, and if he doesn't, he could face criminal charges. But I'm pretty sure that he'll do that.
And they're not going to build a wall or anything.
It's a rock in the way of your mower. You move it out of the way. You didn't realize what it was.
Exactly.
So, just a quirky, fun new little story that I found.
Yeah. Now, I also found an interesting story this last week on physics.org, which is a pretty interesting website. They got some good articles every now and then. This one is from Earth Science, and obviously we're talking about Earth, but this is more ozone, lightning, and how they have a lot more to do with each other than we imagined. We always knew that lightning and weather had, like storms and whatnot, were connected because of static electricity and the discharge of ions between the ground and the storms. So we understood that much of lightning, but we didn't know if it really did anything positive or negative towards the environment. And that's what this is discussing. So this is actually explaining that there's a whole chemical process going on every time lightning from... it doesn't have to be just from cloud to ground. It can actually just be cloud lightning as well. Actually cleaning particles out of our atmosphere, like methane, which is a huge part of global warming and the whole climate change. And so this is actually helping remove these chemicals from our atmosphere and pumping in clean, fresh ozone and ions and nitrogen and whatnot right into our atmosphere. And so that's this article. This explains all of it. It is really cool. I wish I had more time to go into it. They don't have any videos or anything describing it, but I will definitely post this in our description if you guys want to tune in later as well. So really cool article. I found it pretty interesting. It's not super long either. It's about maybe a page and a half or so. It just kind of breaks down the process of what's actually going on with lightning. So cool. Hope you guys find that interesting. I always knew there was something more going on.
I don't think I caught all of that from you. Your audio cut out once again, of course.
Jiminy crickets.
As it always does. But the ozone does make me think, like, if you've ever been around any sort of high energy discharge, you know what ozone smells like. When I used to work with Tesla coils, after you fire one of those off, 1.5 million volts, it's like a metallic scent or almost taste to the air. That's ozone. That's exactly what you're making. So it stands to make sense that a much higher energy lightning bolt is going to create even more. That
Absolutely.
and it's due to its difference in density and buoyancy to normal oxygen is why that they call it the ozone, just
Yep.
above the rest of the atmosphere. And some of its properties do help protect us from cosmic rays,
Absolutely.
some of that
That's a huge deal.
ionization. So it's good to have. Over the pandemic, the ozone holes definitely shrunk and closed up due to a lot less pollution, a lot less travel. Um, Again, last year we saw a lot of things happening like that. Whales coming back into harbors they were never in before. Even here, when I go on my walks, the water is a lot more clear than it was last year.
That's very
Kind of cool to
yeah.
see.
Yeah, it's amazing what we can do to our environment with just a little trash and garbage and just not caring. And poof, like the whole globe starts falling apart. We're losing our ozone. We're damaging our rivers. We got mutated frogs
We
and
change
crap.
things.
You know,
It can go back to the way that it should
Right.
be, which is
so
it's an encouraging sign if we finally pull our heads out of our asses and make some changes.
yeah.
Things can get
And
better.
I feel like the United States has always had a pretty decent outlook and foreshadow there, but yeah, we really still rely way too much on fossil fuels. I'm sure you have them, but everybody's got those scooters. It seems now, where you can rent a scooter and just scoot around your city. And
we don't see them here,
huge,
but in Ann Arbor,
love that
extremely
stuff.
popular.
This is awesome. And I mean, I wish they had more scooter lanes or whatever, so that we're not trying to run them over.
You'll see them in the pedestrian cities, but it really just depends on the supply and demand, obviously. But there are some changes. Hey, we're finally back in the Paris Climate Agreement.
Yes, that is true.
Which
yeah,
helps.
we did get it signed back into that, which is
Our
awesome.
administration has started basically a global climate summit,
Mhm.
which are things that we finally need. So I think, in some ways we learned a few things and are trying to, get back on our
Right.
feet. So we'll keep an eye on that. I'm sure we'll do a video on climate change.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, at some point
green
here.
energy,
Um,
all of that. Tons of ideas down the pipeline. Just going to take a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, something that's been popping up in the news, I'm sure everybody's been hearing about, other than lots of other random news, is that this herd immunity with the COVID vaccine, and that the United States isn't going to be able to reach that because there are too many anti-vaccinators and just people that are unsure about the vaccination, that it's almost going to be a 50-50 cut instead of the 80-20 that you're looking for a full herd immunization. Now, really, you can shoot for about 75% of the population and then give it 5 years, and you'll be at about 90%, just because of people making babies and how that works. And that's just genetics. But these, there's also talk of these only lasting for so long, and this, I really, wow. I mean, they even had a doctor on the ABC News channel I was watching this morning that was saying that these only last 6 months or something. This is not true. If you're getting the mRNA vaccination, I cannot say the same thing about the Johnson & Johnson one because I know that's not an mRNA. But if you're getting the Moderna, if you're getting the Pfizer vaccine, and I think the AstraZeneca one is also an mRNA. I could be wrong.
I believe it is. I'm
could
not
be wrong.
100% sure, so don't quote us on that.
Yeah, don't quote us on the AstraZeneca one because that one's not available in our area either. So, as far as I know.
I think that's mainly Europe.
Yeah.
Is where that's being used mostly. But again, Pfizer and Moderna. I've seen a few of these isolated reports saying, "Oh, its efficacy only works for 6 months."
No.
And
no, this is wrong.
no,
That doesn't make
the
any
majority
sense.
of the studies, and
and these,
they've shown the complete opposite. That it's still maintaining its.
Yeah. You could go
It's doing
probably even 5
long
years
after 6
without needing
months.
to get another COVID vaccine. The only thing that I can think of is that this could mutate multiple times, but I really
Well, it
don't
already
see
has.
that happening.
It's
We're getting
multiple times
vaccinated
since the very
so
beginning.
quickly that I think this could actually, I mean, we're already at like 50% for, 65 and older. Or actually, I think it's 80 or something. It's getting really close. It's really high up there for the 65 and older group. And then I think Pfizer and Moderna are about to get approval because their clinical studies just finished for 12 and up. So those, and that went extremely well. Actually, better than they expected. There were less reactions and issues than they anticipated. They thought they were going to have to rework this whole thing. They really didn't have to do anything to it.
Well,
So,
it makes sense considering that the younger generation reacted just to the COVID virus itself, and nowhere near as
Nowhere
bad
near.
as
the current
old,
generation. Yeah, like you
as
and
older
me.
people. So
Yep. That is true.
it's a good thing to have. It'll be good for schools, especially during the
Absolutely.
fall, to get them back. And they're even starting some of the early clinical trials on 6 months
Yes,
and older.
I did hear about that as well.
Which
I would give that another 6
that's
months.
going to be really what helps. I think people, are definitely worried that we may not reach herd immunity, but it is still definitely possible. All you have to do is just convince enough people to
And
get
let me
it.
tell you,
People are
so
doing that in some weird ways. A few bars are doing shots for shots.
yes.
If you show that
Yep.
you're vaccinated, you get a free shot
I
or a free
think
beer.
in Detroit they're giving you a free joint at a couple of different dispensaries if you've gotten both your
there are some
vaccinations and you bring in your
dispensaries that are doing
card.
that. One in Ann Arbor is doing that now as
Yeah,
well.
not surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if someone in Grand Rapids is doing it. It's also decriminalized here. So, I mean, there's all kinds of incentives. I think there was actually a place that gave you a discount on shopping if you had gotten your vaccination as well and you were still wearing your mask. So different things like that. These mRNA vaccines, technically, let's say the virus doesn't mutate anymore permanently and we only have our current like 4 or 5 genomes that are out there, you will not need another COVID-19 vaccination, like ever. Like you won't need it because if the virus itself isn't going to mutate, then you won't need new immunity for it in the future. If it continues to mutate because people aren't getting the vaccinations that we currently have that fight the current mutations, and it mutates even worse, then we will need more vaccines, and those will have worse symptoms most likely because it's going to be a harder variant of this virus. That's why it's more important to get this vaccine now than it is to get it later.
Exactly.
And
I think that's what some of the misinformation is latching onto when they talk about, oh, well, it's not as effective. You might need a booster.
No.
It's not a booster to keep your immunity. It's more of a booster to help your immunity with newer
variances.
strains.
Exactly.
It's
the DNA of this one
flu shot each
looks different than
because
this
the
one.
flu virus mutates. This virus will mutate, and if I have to get a booster for COVID vaccine every year, I'm okay with that.
We already do that with the flu. Why not? I mean,
vaccine,
if there's going to be a new variant, exactly.
And it's showing to be extremely effective, and it's the arguments against getting the vaccine are pretty much the same, in the same boat as any of the arguments against vaccines in general, which is complete.
I just don't get it. There's no mercury, there's no lead, these don't cause autism. I mean, I really, the whole autism thing I'm going to have to do a whole episode on because there's a whole backstory of autism that no one knows unless you went into psychology in a university or college at some point in your life. You don't know the backstory of how autism even came to fruition and then how it was redefined and reclassified. And that's everybody's pointing this towards the vaccines, and they have nothing to do with them at all.
Absolutely not true.
Total baloney.
None of that is true.
And we'll get into that in future episodes. I'm sorry to drag on and on about it, but this is a huge deal, and I don't think anybody's taking this very seriously. Or as seriously as they should. We are not over the woods yet. We're not over the hill. It's not time to start taking off your mask and forgetting to wash your hands. You need to be getting your vaccination. You need to keep your mask on and keep washing your hands and keeping your distance until we can get to herd immunity. Until then,
It's really not hard.
get
We've been
used
doing
to
it for a
this.
year.
Yeah.
We can do it for a little while.
Otherwise, we're going to stay
Um,
like this with constant random lockdowns and stay home orders. And I hate this crap. I'm tired of it. I know most of you are. So let's get over all of these stupid myths and misinformation and actually get back to reality. So, anyway, I think that covers most of our news today.
I think so. Yeah, let's see. We covered all the crazy space stuff.
Yes.
That's always
Yes,
helpful.
we covered the lightning, the COVID vaccine. I did want to talk briefly about the Samsung Fold 3. There's some rumors, since that could be coming up. They might be launching that sooner than expected because they kind of had delays because of 2020. So there's rumors that not only is this Fold 3 could be possibly water resistant, and which would also mean dust resistance, because the first two barely did that at all. So if this Fold is fully water resistant and as good as they claim it could be, like it could have the S Pen built into it as well, with up to 8 different cameras.
Oh, you cut out again, of course.
Yeah, I'm sorry. So hopefully, I don't have any images of the supposed Fold 3 or anything. This was just kind of randomly. It's been popping up a lot in the news. I think this is something we all want. We all want a foldable phone that's water resistant, and that is not easy. So give the engineers some time. I think we'll see something this year. That's my prediction. I would bank some money on Samsung I know they're going to have a new Fold, and I can guarantee it's going to at least be dust resistant. So fingers crossed there. Anyway.
I'll say it's kind of fun watching you and not hearing, and then 10 seconds later, I hear what you're actually saying through the YouTube chat. So it's a little delay.
But yeah.
And now you're back. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I think, guys, we're going to try to get onto something other than Skype.
Yeah, we've really got.
Right now, we're
I'm
using
sorry,
Skype
everybody.
and routing that through Streamlabs to stream this to you guys. But we might want to look into Zoom.
Yeah,
or
I'm
Google
gonna have to play around with
Hangouts
some
or
Zoom
something
settings.
like that,
Yeah.
because Skype seems to hate us these
It's
days.
really
so,
been hating us.
If anybody sees this, if you have suggestions
Other
on
than
a
Zoom
good
or
streaming service
Skype
that works
that's
best
free,
for you,
please let us know.
all of them will translate into Streamlabs OBS. I know that. So
this is true.
let us know which you prefer.
Yeah, for real.
Is it Zoom?
Because
Is it Google Hangouts? Is it even Facebook Live? Anything we can make work. We just I
been
don't
dealing.
think we should use Skype anymore.
Yeah, it's been bad. It's just been bad. And it doesn't help that we have a very limited, extremely limited budget. But anyway, I appreciate everybody. I think we had a few people tuning in. I hope the people in our live audience enjoyed our show for the day. I know we're both very busy, so we will be signing off. But again, if you guys have any questions, if you liked the topics, you didn't like the topics, you want to argue us, whatever it is, you want to, post it in the comments. Please leave some comments for us. Let us know what you think. Do you not want the vaccine? Do you want to go to space? Do you hate lightning? Let us know. So just keep us in the loop, guys. I appreciate everybody for tuning in, and hopefully we all learned something new today. I thank you all, and have a great one.